The angels whisper in the breeze along the wall, way lined with trees. What would they say if trees could talk? Each story there on Warriors Walk.
He was a soldier from the time he was knee-high to a grasshopper, always running around, playing G.I. Joes, sniper in the woods. I mean, you know, he loved what he did and died doing what he loved, serving his country. He tormented me by flicking pennies at me. And to this day, I cannot walk by a penny on the ground without picking it up and looking up and saying, I love you, Chad. Once he had his son, Gavin was his passion. And Gavin is 12 years old now, and he is so much his daddy. I can see Chad in him every time I see him. And that was Chad's passion. Once he found out he had a child, that was it. He loved his family. He never batted an eyelash, even though it upset everybody else when he deployed. He didn't give it a second thought. He knew what he was going to do. And that's what I want people to remember about him. He loved serving his country.
A field of honor, field of pride. Brave soldiers marching, some fall and die.
You know him as Sergeant First Class Alwyn C. Cash. We call him Al. That's all he was to us, just Al. He was rambunctious, mischievous as I don't know what, sneaky and scrawny growing up. He was the last of 9 children, and he always had something going. But as he got older, he loved hunting, fishing. If it was outside, my brother loved to do it, even from a young age. And I think that's why he gravitated toward the military, because he could actually get paid for what he liked doing, being outside. So he was pretty good at that. He loved hunting, but his passion was his daughter, Lexus. He was crazy about, what was it he called her? Fat peas. That was his, he was crazy about his daughter, Alexis. He really was. He was so proud when she was born, and you always knew when Alexis was in Florida because he treated her like a little queen. He was 100% committed to what he did. He was a soldier that, before Mel Gibson coined the phrase, "no man left behind," Al said that. He was very devoted. When I met the family of the men that served with him, I already knew who they were because he talked about them so much every time he came home.
Their memories here will never dim. At Warriors Walk, we honor them.
Sarah, a fun-loving girl, and she excelled in studies. She always did very well in school and studied hard. She loved to dance, and she sang like a bird. She was a prankster. She liked to have a lot of fun. Sports, but not the traditional sports. She was on a dance team and really enjoyed the competitiveness of the dance team. And she took up in high school karate. And when she was at West Point, she was on a judo team. She was a very diverse type of individual, but whatever she did, she really tried to excel at what she did. She just loved to do everything in life to the fullest, and that's how I remember her, whether it be school, sports, friendships, family, holidays. She loved Christmas. We're here for Christmas holidays. She just did everything to the max, and she loved life, and she made it easier for the rest of us to love life.
With eyes to heaven, we say a prayer, and know you're with the angels there, and in our hearts you will always be heroes of the 3rd ID.
Alex was a good kid. He was an informal leader in my platoon, and anytime soldiers had an issue, they always went to Alex to bring it forward to the leadership. And he was a warrior. He loved being a soldier, and he loved training, and he was just a good kid. His passion was the New York Mets, really. That's really, he was all about the Mets, he was all about New York, and he was also all about his mother. I want others to remember that Alex is a true American hero, and hero is a term that sometimes gets thrown around a little bit, but he was. He was my soldier. I led him, and I know. And I spent 18 months in a combat zone with that kid.
Field of honor, field of pride. Brave soldiers march here, some fight and die. Their memories here will never dim.
My brother was a very outgoing person. He was 20 years old when he was killed. He lived his life to the fullest every day. He did so much for other people. He always thought of others before himself. Loved video games. He played video games all the time, so he was a gamer. We shared a lot of memories together growing up. He was my best friend. He was a very loving brother and a loving friend, and he is forever missed. His passion in life was to make a change in the world. He always wanted to do something for others that would change anybody's life. I mean, if he was driving, for example, there was this one man that always walked. My brother would always pick him up and take him where he needed to go. He would always give him a ride, so he was always trying to make a change.
Warriors walk, we honor them.
Gene was a good old Southern boy who loved living in Georgia. He loved watching the Georgia Bulldogs play. He loved getting in his truck and riding down dirt roads, fishing, hunting. He was the father of 2 children, Gene Benjamin and Lyrian. He was a husband, he was a brother, and he was a son. Gene loved to hunt and fish and ride on dirt roads in his pickup truck and watch Georgia Bulldogs play, and sometimes the Atlanta Braves he would root for them, but not all the time. Gene loved being a soldier. He believed he was born to be a soldier, and he loved to serve. He enjoyed working with the soldiers, and he loved being a sergeant. He did 2 tours in Iraq, and his goal was to make sure that all the soldiers under him came home safely. Dying for your country is not the worst thing. Being forgotten is. Every soldier who has a tree out here left a mother, a father, a wife, a child. They left someone who loves them and misses them very much. It's not about the death, it's about the service. It's about honoring the fact that they were willing to lay down and die for you.
What would they say if trees could talk? Each story there on Warriors Walk. A field of honor, field of pride. Brave soldiers march here, some fought and died. Their memories here will never dim. At Warriors Walk, we honor them.